in 1993, many moons ago, I was lucky enough to go to CES in Las Vegas and meet the legendary Brandon Tartikoff. And Brandon, at that time, had just finished a stint as head of New World, and before that, he was at Paramount, and he was at NBC. How many of you have heard of Brandon Tartikoff? Yeah, they give an award at NAPI, a Brandon Tartikoff Legend Award. And when I met him, he was interested in talking to me because I was a brand strategist and a marketer. And way back when he worked at a television station in his younger years, he did that. He marketed and he branded the station in the news, you know, all of that kind of stuff. Anybody familiar with that? Anybody ever worked at a station and had to pump out promos? Well, that's what he did. And he said, you know, as a marketer, I bet you have some great ideas for a television show. I said, absolutely. I had none. But I said yes. And at the time, I was living in Atlanta. I just finished working for Turner Broadcasting. I just launched my own company, Big Fish Marketing. And he said, can you be in my office in 2 weeks and tell me your idea? I said, absolutely. So in 2 weeks, I wrote a treatment for something called The Femmes. It was about 4 women who lived in San Francisco. It was animated, and it was highly sexed up. HBO loved it. Brandon took it to them. He said, it's going to be my signature piece. He said, but hey, kiddo, if we're going to work together, you need to move to LA. So I left my husband, and I did. So I moved to LA, and unfortunately and fortunately, Sex and the City actually got the slot. Sounded familiar, right? So I didn't know you could do that in live action on television, the stuff we were going to do in animation. So that relationship went on 3 years before Brandon got too ill to work. But in those 3 years, we built websites for AOL, we created all kinds of content, and we had a blast together. I got to be in the room with a legend because I said, yes. Say it with me. Yes. You say yes to opportunity, and amazing things happen. So today I want to talk to you about how to get yes from whoever you're pitching. How many of you would like to get to yes on some of the projects you're working on and get on set more and get into some films more, yeah? Okay, so to get there, you have to be a brand. Now, what I mean is a personal brand. Like Brandon, you know who he is. So why would you ever want to be a brand? First of all, to be valued for who you are, to attract what you want, to create demand for your talents, to walk your path with integrity. Amazing. Who wants that? Really, all of us do, of course. To distinguish yourself from competitors and to make more money doing what you love. So who's ready to pay attention on how to be a brand? Well, yes, thank you. Well, let me tell you how to be a brand. It has to spring from your passion. It's not just about filling a void in the marketplace that you think exists. It's about actually thinking about what you're passionate about. My passion is television. This is a picture of my Sony portable TV that I carried around when I was 5 years old. It had a handle. It was kind of like an iPod, but about 8 pounds. And I would carry this around, and my parents had split. In the chaos of my life, that television gave me comfort, and it made me feel warm. And I knew the schedule backwards and forwards of what shows were on, and I couldn't wait for my favorite show so I could kind of escape all that chaos in my life between my parents fighting and going back and forth. So I went into television. And Sony is one of my favorite clients today. As a matter of fact, when I was a kid, my house caught on fire in Eagle Rock, California. My mother came to rescue me from my bed, and I rescued my Sony portable TV. That's how much it meant to me. I didn't have a doll, I had a TV. So I went into television. And when I created my own brand, I wanted to do it modeled on my authentic self. I had been running all over the world, creating brands for big television networks and studios and entertainment companies, and I'd left mine in the dust. So I pulled back, and I used everything I knew about branding on myself, and I asked myself these 3 questions. What did I stand for? What did I want to achieve? And what did my project say about me? Were they in integrity with who I was and the gifts that I had to deliver to the world? You see, branding is about unearthing those gifts and then planting your flag in the ground and declaring who you are and what you can do great. Now, producers, these producers are clearly defined by their brands, right? So J.J. Abrams, I'm going to ask you, when you think of J.J. Abrams, what kind of entertainment do you think of?
Science fiction robot.
Science fiction robot. He's the go-to person for that, isn't he? And what about Tina Fey? Comedy, self-deprecating humor, right? And then what about Jerry Bruckheimer? Action with a capital A. So all of these guys have defined genres, Shonda Rhimes, all of the people up on the screen. And many more, like my friend Tom Beers, who runs Fremantle now, but created Ice Road Truckers and Deadliest Catch. He created a genre for the working hero, and look at how many shows now fall within that. What can you do to define your work, even if you're a makeup artist, even if you're somebody who's creating content for the internet? Even if you're in the voiceover business, how can you brand yourself in a way where people know you're the go-to person for that kind of work? You see, business is a talent show. And every time you walk into the room, you're on stage. You are the headliner. So what are people saying about your name as the headliner? What are people attaching to your name? Is it how you want to be thought of and valued? It takes this first step, and I've got 4. First is unearthing the real you. It starts with a great story about you, a superhero story. This is a picture of myself and my father and my sister. My sister and I run our business together. My dad taught us the business at the age of 10 and 11. He was a single dad, and after school, he would pick us up and take us to meetings. Many times I would watch him pitch and close a deal. He was an ad man, like a madman. He drank the martinis and had the airline stewardesses in the palm of his hand. But I learned more than entertainment, that kind of entertainment, from my father. I learned how to write headlines. I learned how to brand from a very tender age. And that's the story I tell first when somebody says, tell me about yourself. I don't say the name of my company or how many years I've been in business. I go to this story. I say, I started in advertising at the age of 11. I learned from my single dad. Immediately, I create an emotional connection with people in the room. The story I told you was less than 30 seconds long, and it's necessary that you have a signature story so people know who they're talking to, who they're dealing with, so they can see your credibility factor. Here's some great storytelling ideas. Woe to win, I just told you one. I never told you that it was difficult growing up without a single mom or any of the difficulties I've had in my life. I went straight to my greatest story. Woe, I had a single dad raising me, to win. Look what I learned and look where I'm at. That quickly, the trajectory goes. Finding the magic bullet, what was that for me? The television, the little Sony portable TV. That was the magic bullet. What's your magic bullet? David versus Goliath. I can't tell you how many times I beat out the big boys. I could tell you story after story. It's a great way to tell a story. And the tough choice, I could have made the easy choice many times in my life, but I jumped on that plane from Atlanta and I moved to LA without knowing anyone really but Brandon and started a company that's lasted 21 years. And what about switch from victim to victor? When was that for you? It's a great story. And then the no one can believe I could do it story. So get a signature story going. That's going to be one of the assignments I'm going to give you today. One that captivates people and lets them see your true character. Make it of superhero origin, a time where you triumphed over adversity. Now, when you come into the room, bring on that swagger. Now, what is swagger? It's a confident way of moving that tells the world, see, I have something to say, and what I have to say matters. Cultivating swagger is key. That's what creates the believability behind the story you're about to tell and the project you're about to pitch. Who has charisma? Well, I could have put a lot of people on the screen, but I think that the guys in the room would definitely say George Clooney. The man doesn't even have to speak. He just walks into the room and he can talk about Sudan. He can talk about anything, because he looks the part, he feels confident, and it's an understated way of moving that tells people what he says and what he does matter. Now, J-Lo, on the other hand, boy, during American Idol, remember when she was taking the judge's chair? Literally, she walked on stage like she just was saying, I'm beautiful, I'm great, I've got it together, I'm amazing, people love me. Couldn't you just hear her doing that self-talk? It was amazing how she took that judge's chair. And let me tell you, self-talk has so much to do with having charisma. Every single one of you has charisma in this room. You're just not turning it on, maybe. Although you're probably turning it on, maybe you. But we got it, but that's how you turn it on. You self-talk. You think of 5 words that when you say them to yourself before you go on, you feel good. Do you want to know what mine are? Let's see if I got it right. Power, possibilities, enthusiasm, connection, and sparkle. That's what I said when I was standing there. When he was introducing me, I said it to myself over and over again. And now I'm on charisma. That's how it works. Now, sometimes when you get really excited about your ideas, you want to make sure you're edited in your delivery. So never hype or oversell. This is what Brandon was the master at. He knew these 3 slogans. When in doubt, leave it out. So right before you come into that room and you're about to talk about what you do as a screenwriter, a producer, a makeup and hair person, if there's something that you're not sure you should say, leave it out. When you go long, you go wrong. If you confuse them, you'll lose them. Get to the simple truth about your idea and then move on. Number 2, define your mission. How many of you have a mission statement that you are living by in this room? Wow, that is the most. That's like 6 people. That is the most people with mission statements who have ever raised their hand. Good for you. I love Colorado. Okay, so you're going to define your mission. What is your mission? It's why you do what you do. Why is what creates the connection. So Apple is think different. Now, they don't use that tagline anymore, but don't you think of that when you're thinking, God, they're so different. But all of us have Apple stuff, but we still feel different using it. And that's great marketing. It really is. So the why creates connection. So when you have your little cocktail event afterwards, try not to tell people what you do. Every person that I introduced myself earlier, you know who you are, you all told me what you did. You didn't tell me why you did it. So it's very important to not say, I'm a this or I'm a that or my company is this. Tell them why you do it. You'll get them right away. Food Network, here's one that I created with them earlier this year, to entertain a food-curious nation. That's their mission, and it guides them like a North Star, and they know what kind of product and content they should put into their network because they have a mission that they're on. My mission is to inspire professionals to fearlessly achieve their potential. Your mission should be 7 words or less. 7 words. So you've got your great story, and at the end of your great story, because they're always going to say, tell me about yourself and your company, then you say, and I'm on a mission to blank. And think about it in your highest self, what you're here to do. And then focus on why you do what you do and not what you do. It's boring what you do. I don't care how excited you are about it. Why are you doing it? That's where the juice is. The 3rd step is to attract your audience. Now, you're thinking the audience for my content. No, I'm thinking, well, yes, they're going to buy your content, but I'm thinking about buyers, investors, networks, online video providers, advertisers, talent, whoever you need to bring onto your project. And you may be one of those people that are on that list. To attract them to your brand, do a 180-degree turn and stand in their shoes. And answer this question. What's in it for me? Every single person you're talking to, even at the cocktail party this afternoon, are going to be asking themselves, if I speak to you, what's in it for me? What are the key benefits of standing here and listening to you, possibly partnering with you, putting together a project with you? What do you want them to think of you? And how will your project or your talent benefit their brand? Now, how are you going to find this out? Now, tonight it's going to be a little difficult because, you don't, unless you're really good with the Google right on the spot and you can look at their name and look down and get to their LinkedIn page fast, it's going to be difficult. But if you are having a meeting set up, you want to make sure you know everything about that person. You've become their LinkedIn friend. You visited their Facebook page. You know what school they went to. Then, if they're working for a company, a television network, or a studio, or there may be an online site, a website, you want to go onto that site. You want to Google every single thing about them. If there's any Microsoft people in the room, we'll Bing them. You'll look at everything about them and see what kind of projects they're green lighting, and see if yours fits in, and tell them how it does. So you're trying to find your way in that's seamless, that makes you look like you're not selling them, you're serving them. Who's tired of selling? Who wants to serve? Does that sound nicer? How do you serve? You're the solution to their pain. So find out what the pain is, where are the voids, and be the solution. That's how to do it. How will your project benefit them? So now, people like to work with people they like, and everyone liked Brandon Tartikoff. Oh my God, it was universal. He got a yes to every meeting, and many times in the room they'd say yes when I was there. It was miraculous because they liked him. How are you going to be likable? Start by networking. You have to get out to get in. This is one of my favorite slogans. You have to get out to get in. When I realized that 80% of all of my business came from people I knew who told other people, actually that's why I'm here today, I started focusing on that instead of the cold calls and the emails and the can I be your friend online and the Facebook. I started focusing on going to events where I knew people would be and blogging articles I knew that they would read and focusing on building relationship with people I knew were already cheerleaders for my brand. Also, show integrity. Develop projects aligned with your mission. This is my mission, and these are the projects I'm working on. So you can own a piece of this entertainment real estate. And then ask questions to show interest and connection. What's keeping you up at night? What's your biggest challenge there at the studio or the network? And then see how you can be the solution. Be generous and help others achieve their dreams. You want your dreams to come true? Help other people achieve theirs. Make sure it's on mission. I don't want you helping all these people and not helping yourself. That can help, that can happen. The fourth and final step, figure out what's stopping you. So many things stand in the way of our success. Fear of rejection. Fear of success. This is one that always has baffled me. I'm thinking about people who literally sabotage their success. They get the keys to the kingdom and they throw them away. They completely lose them. Don't be one of those people. If you've watched yourself do it, get underneath it. Get a coach, a mentor, someone to get you out of your own way. The other thing is being too comfortable. Being too comfortable with the way things are is like a flashing yellow light that we all drive through. Everything's changing so fast. We have to change with it. We have to evolve to become relevant. So I'm going to ask you, are you too comfortable with the way things are? Step outside the box. That's where the air is. And at the beginning of this talk, I shared with you my story about saying yes. And I want to really encourage you today to say yes to opportunity and do it with a great attitude. Receive the feedback gracefully. Don't get defensive in the room. There's people there that are trying to help you when they're giving you feedback. Filter it through and make sure that you take back the pieces that resonate. Be communicative. Okay, this is about being a sure bet. Within 24, and if you can make it 12 hours of leaving any meeting, communicate with the person you saw. Show up when you say you're going to show up. Be early, and then communicate to them and give them back what they asked for. ASAP. I have won more projects by being the first one out of the gate to get back to the client. People a lot of times drop the ball, but if you're the one that catches it, you can win the business. And be flexible. I'm not talking about tearing your project apart and losing all the integrity in it. But if they really want the character to be a woman or a man and it's not going to make that big a deal, just do it. Say yes. And practice your ABCs: action, belief, and courage. What action can you take today to get your projects off the ground, to get in the room with the right decision maker, and to have a superhero story that captivates them? Belief. What can you do to believe in yourself, to know that you are the right person to do this project? Is it a workshop? Is it a weekend getaway? Is it a writing exercise? Is it art therapy? I mean, people, time's a wasted. You've got to believe in yourself if you're going to sell any of your ideas or yourself as part of a project. And finally, courage. You know, courage is something that I'm talking a lot about these days because I see people in fear. I think 2008 knocked the wind out of all of us. But it's time to get back into a courageous mindset and to be fearless. When you're in fear, you're not in faith. How can you expect anyone to have faith in your projects if you don't even have faith in yourself? How you feel about yourself will always be reflected back to you. So if the reflection you're getting right now is negative, tune into how you're feeling about yourself and make yourself courageous. And remember that self-talk is a great way to get there. So action, belief, and courage, that's what's driven my business for 21 years and saying yes. If you don't remember one more thing about this afternoon, remember those things. Those are key. I'm going to give you homework. If you've got a piece of paper, I want you to write down your homework or memorize it. I want you to declare your mission in 7 words or less. Why are you here? What is your true purpose in this lifetime? What kind of entertainment do you want to deliver that will be in integrity with what you stand for? What do I stand for? Different is good. Anybody with me on that? Yeah, different is good. Different is good. That's what I stand for. And my mission helps professionals like yourself figure out what's different about them, what distinguishes them from the pack, and lets them own their true unique style without selling out. Craft your greatest story. I told you one about my little Sony portable TV. I told you one about Brandon, about my father. All of these great, great superhero stories that you have locked within you, start writing them. It may be your next screenplay. Who knows, right? And then get out there and network. Tonight's a great beginning. And introduce yourself with confidence and pride in what you do and why you do it. And be fearless. That's the most important thing. It's all about making a name for yourself. And the better you treat your brand, the more success you're going to have. Fulfilling your highest potential is why you're here. It's not selfish. It's why you're here. And through entertainment, we can do great things. And I just know that if you take these steps to heart, that you are going to be the one that moves and shakes, that you're going to be the one, like Brandon, that's iconic and legendary, and that you're going to be the one to tell great stories to the world and unleash entertainment that makes a real difference in this world. Thank you so much.